Governor Akpabio sues for sustained investment in gas utilization to end flaring. Stakeholders in People's Democratic Party held dinner to raise funds for Udom Emmanuel Moses Ekpo campaign organization. State government will continue to support investment initiatives aimed at creating jobs. Details of these and more in a moment. Good morning to AKBC 45 News. I am Jeffrey Olok. Akwa Ibom State Government was chaired by Ifeanyi Ubah.
The dinner also had in attendance the State Deputy Governor, Lady Valerie Ebe, the Governor's wife, Mrs. Ekaito Norma Akpabio, former military administrators in the state, members of the corporate world, political stakeholders, friends and supporters of the People's Democratic Party. Governor Akpabio, while addressing the people, thanked them for identifying with Mr. Udom Emmanuel's aspiration, noting that he is the right man for the job. The governor, who also appreciated them for their financial support, called on them to vote Mr. Udom Emmanuel to become the governor of the state.
That not the penny of your money will be in the grave. That the emergence of the next government will not be a reproach. That progress will continue to be improved by the grace in function, and the road to Emmanuel will be a pride to your family and the family.
The chairman of the fundraising ceremony, Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, said monies realized from the event will be plunged into the house-to-house campaign by the PDP in the state. Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, who is also the chairman governing council of the University of Benin, described the exercise as one that will ensure continuity of good governance already experienced in the state.
Use the money and go continue to the house-to-house campaign. You don't need from here, go and meet some people. That's what I expect from each and every one of you. Not to donate money and go and sleep. We must go and tell people the difference between the member and others.
Performances by artists including Akwa Ibom Future Professional Group and Ukokwan Cultural Troupe spiced the evening. Earlier, the Director General of the Udom Emmanuel Moses Ekpo Campaign Council, Otuekong Idonson Kanga, said voting Mr. Udom Emmanuel into office will ensure continuity of good governance in the state. He thanked Governor Akpabio for developing the various sectors of the economy and expressed faith that the duo of Udom Emmanuel and Moses Ekpo will build on the already laid foundation. In his remarks, the PDP governorship candidate, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, flanked by his wife Martha and his running mate, Mr. Moses Ekpo, pledged to provide more development projects, especially in the areas of power, wealth creation, infrastructural consolidation and expansion, poverty alleviation, and job creation. He thanked the people for believing in him and promised not to disappoint them.
If you have a man who has made the foundation for a skyscraper, for a high-rise building, you cannot afford to give the construction to a wife who grew up a bungalow and waste the money and waste of time. So today, Udom Moses Divine Mandate project is nothing but a round peg in a round hole, or what
donations from groups, corporate bodies, political organizations, captains of industries, and individuals were received for the Udom Emmanuel Moses Ekpo campaign organization. John report.
Senatorial district have resolved to be active participants in the forthcoming elections. They have also pledged to vote all PDP candidates in the elections. The women met the wife of the state governor, Mrs. Ekaito Norma Akpabio, accompanied by the wife of gubernatorial candidate in the state, Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, visited Ikorabasi, Istinobolo, and Parenin is to canvass for the PDP candidates. Yana Paul has the details of the visit.
Mrs. Ekaito Noma Akpabio was accompanied by the State Deputy Governor, Lady Valerie B., wife of the governorship bearer, Mrs. Martha, female stakeholders, and members of the State Executive Council. The team started its campaign at Ikorabasi local government area, where gave the governor's wife a warm reception. They sang, danced, and presented gifts to their visitors. And other political stakeholders, a governor's wife for standing by her husband to ensure that the state sustain its development tempo, ensure that the infrastructure development is sustained by voting PDP candidates from like Jonathan Udom as governor and their candidates for federal, state.
The women of Ikorabasi local government are out to support you. It is PDP all the way.
This state will vote massively for everyone in PDP.
Mrs. Ekaito people for their support and women, she said, will emulate her in the lives of women, Mrs. Martha Udom to the women.
Who do you know? Who do you know? Under which party?
The team moved to Obolo local government area and were received with accolades from the chairman of council, his wife, with socio-political groups who endorsed the PDP candidates in the national and state levels.
Istinobolo is a PDP local government. In PDP we stand. No shaking. PDP has no problem.
Women of the area said the incoming wife of the governor will continue to empower them and make them feel the dividends of democracy. Mparene in local government area was the last point of call by the team. Event, the State Deputy Governor, Lady Valerie B., said the governor's wife has been a true example of a righteous woman and promised that women in the area will vote for the party.
That means that you see Baroness and you see Ona. We just got Baroness Ona, so you have brought us progress. You have brought us life.
Council, the Vice Chairman, women leaders, and stakeholders said Mparene will vote in all the elections. The governor's wife presented Mrs. Martha Udom to them. Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, in her remarks, carry women along if her husband becomes the next governor of the state. The First Lady also commissioned house belts for a widow, Mrs. Rose Victor, in the area. Iyageno reporting.
This is AKBC 45 News. More news after the break.
Campaign. Generally, Jim Benagandi Damiaco. A Louis Rufa said of Mesrufa. A Louis Tina, you don't mess with them. And we don't get Emmanuel.
at the time and so on in man. Therefore, it's a man amenity. When finally, His Excellency Ajopo Minister, when you look at the put a Moses and Moses. When you look at what you get, I get away now. Joseph, and the Panda, and I look for this. I am out of one room. Sitting on a wall of the road to the Mark of the with them in the woman. Oh, no, I get the full of the somebody in a man. Is that the army?
Udom is right and fair. For Udom is the best. For Kwai said, Udom is right and fair. Behold our next governor.
The state government is taking steps to upgrade the Akwa Ibom State Civil Service Center to a full-fledged Management Development Institute. The head of Civil Service, Mrs. Cecile Odoisian, who announces that the Maiden Civil Service Training Center Stakeholders Day and said the institute meet the manpower development need of high-level service. The report of the Stakeholders Day is presented in our studio.
Mrs. Udoisian, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary in her office, Mrs. Enofiong, said to attend the envisaged new status, government to upgrade existing facilities at the center, as well as review the institution's curriculum to ensure that it meets the expectations of the new set of senior officers expected to undergo training at the institution. The head of civil service added, the center shall begin to earn foreign exchange for the state, as it will be foreign students on training programs. The principal of the center, Mr. Ifyo Kumana, barely 6 months of his assumption of office, the head of service was full of for the number of middle-level manpower turned out by the center, who she noted have contributed significantly to the delivery of quality services in government ministries, departments, and agencies.
It is on record that the state government has over the years made concerted efforts to ensure that facilities required to enhance effective teaching and learning at this institution are provided.
The Communications Savala, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information and Communications, Mr. Emmanuel Asanga, noted that the products of the center have over the years justified government's investment in the center.
Training center is aspect of the unit of the civil service. The entire service cannot be. It is an important organ of government.
Other permanent secretaries who spoke, Lady Sylvia Ekpo of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Mr. Uso of State Technical Schools Board, and Elder Akpan Solomon Akpan of the State Secondary Education Board were full recommendations for the principal and his management team for the proactive steps taken to ensure that the center sends its full potentials. The principal of the center, Mr. Ifyo Kumana, said the event was organized to provide a forum for discussion on the way forward for the Civil Service Training Center. Mr. Umana said with the right framework, infrastructure and templates in place, it was possible to make students of the institution the desired excellence in service delivery, civility and decorum. While appreciating government for its assistance to the center, the principal used the opportunity to appeal to all stakeholders and alumni of the center to join hands with the government building the institution to become a center of academic excellence. The stakeholders attended by the center and members of the host communities.
have been reminded of the need to always trust in God despite the challenges they may face in life. This was the key message in sermon delivered in churches yesterday. Patient John visited some churches in the U and filed in this report.
The ritual of converging in churches, especially on Sundays, to worship God and to listen to teachings in the Bible was fulfilled today when worshippers gathered at different churches. Although some of the worshippers in churches visited were not in their usual singing and dancing mood, they were, however, paying attention to gospel messages. Apostle Inyang of the Mount Zion Lighthouse Full Gospel Church, Peter Obo Street, told the congregation to keep putting their faith in God for a turnaround in their lives. Apostle Inyang, who spoke on the topic, "The storm is over," drew their attention to people in the Bible who, despite their conditions, believed in God, while God in turn answered the prayers.
When you are with God, nobody will take your crown. Nobody will take your position. Nobody will destroy your destiny. Nobody will take what belongs to you. It's your benediction, amen.
The youth choir and Immaculate Voices of the Full Gospel Mission, Kemba Street, added praises to God, appreciating Him for keeping them alive and for sending Jesus Christ, His Son, to die for mankind. Pastor V.E. Ukbong of the Mount Zion Mission Incorporated, Akaitiam Street, cautioned Christians on the consequences of living a sinful life. In a sermon on "Come Out of Sodom," the clergyman who read from Genesis chapter 19 likened sin to Sodom, where atrocities like murder, drunkenness, idolatry, among others, were committed, and how they suffered for them. Pastor Ukbong called on Christians to forsake acts that are unpleasing to God, to avoid God's anger, but obey His commandments in order to attract God's blessings.
If you don't give what belongs to your wife, you are in Sodom. Living square in Sodom, when you put eyes on married men, you are in Sodom.
Respondents said the church has a responsibility to pray for peace in the country and for those in authority.
Today is Sunday, and I believe that most Christians are praying for this election so that it will be hitch-free, there will be no violence.
We need to focus our thoughts in prayer, to pray to God, asking God to, give us the grace to sail through this election.
As a Christian, we should keep to our faith, believing God, and make a choice of our own, not allowing anybody to influence us, using the spirit of Christendom to vote whosoever that God will put in our minds to vote for.
Today is the third Sunday in March. Reporting.
You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45 or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. And now to end the news, the main point again. Government has sued for sustained investment in gas utilization to end flaring. He was speaking at the bar in honor of the First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan in the UK. He also brought that stakeholders in the People's Democratic Party have held race for Dame Emmanuel Moseseku campaign organization. That's this morning. I'm Jeffrey Orr.